It's another week, and I actually have to talk about something rather serious this week. It's a topic that has consumed a good portion of my life. It's always on my mind, you know. That is the Cloverfield franchise. Yeah, so if you've been watching, thank you for watching and staying loyal. I'm trying to build this from the ground up, but we got our first sponsor. Look at us. Today's video is brought to you by Slusho. Slusho is a really good drink. They sent me some test samples. It's really healthy, really good for you. I've been trying to get in better shape, trying to go on, like, I've tried keto, I've tried Weight Watchers, you know, I've tried all those stupid diets, and nothing seems to work, but Slusho has been giving me a little energy boost, you know, taking hunger cravings away and things like that. So, yeah, shout out to Slusho for sponsoring this video. They say it tastes so good it makes your stomach explode, and yeah, I definitely feel that. I've been feeling a little yeah, I've been feeling fine. Yeah, so thank you, Slusho. I love you, you're awesome. And oh yes, it's made with seabed nectar, which is just super rare, super hard to find. It has, like, I guess your body has like 100 essential minerals it needs or something like that, and Slusho's got like 99 of them. So you better get on it. I'm gonna leave a link in the description below. Use code WISEGUY for 10% off. Thank you, Slusho. Cloverfield came out in 2008. I was 9 years old. I was a little young kid who had a really big, you know, I was obsessed with Goosebumps books. I was obsessed with, like, you know, the kid horror stuff. I was getting into it. And a really big obsession of mine was Godzilla and dinosaurs and kaijus and all of that. I would go to Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and I would rent as many Godzilla movies as they had. My favorite was All Monsters Attack, by the way. So yeah, I was a big monster movie fan. And I think I mentioned this previously as well in another video. A big Transformers fan. So I remember this so vividly. And to be honest, this is probably one of my earliest memories. I remember my sister took me to go see Transformers, and there was a trailer that played before the movie for a movie with no name, just this crazy teaser that just listed the date that the movie came out, I'm pretty sure. And we both looked at each other and we were kind of like, what do you think that is? And I thought it was a Godzilla movie. I really was like, that is Godzilla. Godzilla's coming to New York. They're doing Zilla good. Like, they're gonna make a better version of what we got in the 90s, right? I was a little young, so I wasn't aware fully of the lore around this movie, Cloverfield, which it would later be revealed to become, and the scale of the marketing that they were doing, which I still think, like, to this day is probably some of the best movie marketing ever. They had I think, MySpace pages for all the characters. There were different websites that you could visit to get like hints of what was going on. You had the Slusho Company, shout out to my sponsor, who was posting like bits about their things, and you could go to various ends of the earth and you could find that it was all linked somehow in this weird way, and it just got you, before even watching a millisecond of the movie, you were invested in these characters. And I think that's something so special and so cool. I don't know, it makes me, it's just like, it's so cool. Yeah. Here's also a weird fun fact. Around the same time that Cloverfield came out, or at least the same time I saw Cloverfield, which I want to say, I had to have seen Cloverfield in theaters, but I don't remember seeing it in theaters. But I remember obviously being impacted by it. So maybe I didn't see it in theaters, and maybe I waited until it was on DVD. I probably watched it on DVD. I mean, who's letting me into an R-rated movie? This is just like taking me back a little bit. So the first YouTube video I ever watched was a Godzilla fight. And I think that got me obsessed with watching monster videos on YouTube. So I would watch anything about Godzilla, really, like anything I could get my hands on about dinosaurs or this and that. And I think since I wasn't able to see it in theaters, I was able to see the hype building around it online. Like, this is a really scary movie. Like, on YouTube, it was like Cloverfield monster sighting, and it was like analyzing the Cloverfield poster with like the music from Requiem for a Dream in the background, and like they were outlining the outlining of the Clover monster in the smoke. And this is like really where my obsession with horror like began. So, you know, I guess I never put two and two together, but what a special movie and time for me. This is really nice, actually, to look back. But what I was going to share is around the same time that Cloverfield came out, or at least I had seen it, Don't Stop the Music by Rihanna was really big on the radio, and when all I could think about was Cloverfield and the Cloverfield monster and what's coming next, is there going to be a sequel, and every time I hear Don't Stop the Music, I'm like transported into 2009. Yes, when you hear a song that is big from a certain year, you get reminded of what you were doing then in that year. Sure, but I specifically like get thrown back into the world of Cloverfield. I like Don't Stop the Music like takes place in the party at the beginning of Cloverfield for me. Which, watching it now, it doesn't really fit that vibe, but 9-year-old me didn't even know what a party was, okay? I guess like I'll go into a little overview of what Cloverfield actually is beyond its genius marketing. Cloverfield is a found footage horror movie directed by Matt Reeves, who also happened to direct the best Batman movie, but that's my opinion. So it's about a man named Rob, and he recently accepted a new job that is going to take him from New York to Japan. So, as a surprise, his friends are using his camera to film his surprise going away party. His ex-girlfriend, Beth, is invited to the party, and intercut when the footage gets a little scrambled and fucked up, you get to see a date he went on with Beth at Coney Island, which, if you look far enough when they're on the Ferris wheel, you might see something fall into the ocean. So at this going away party, everyone's getting together, having having a good time. Beth comes to the party. It's a weird dynamic between her and Rob. And then basically all hell breaks loose. There's a giant explosion. And they're told to evacuate the city. Which, I'm from New York. I live on Long Island. I cannot imagine being in either Manhattan or on Long Island during such a terrible emergency, even though I know it happened in 2001. Because they're islands. There's not really a lot of places to go. So it's hell trying to get off of the island, and as they're trying to cross bridges, they realize this isn't like people dropping, this isn't 9/11 too. Like, this is something new. This is a monster attacking the city. And by monster, I mean my bitch Clover. I love her. She has my favorite monster design of any kaiju adjacent things I've ever seen. She's a beauty. And she carries parasites that are down in the subways, and they will make your stomach explode if they bite you. God. This movie is so good. So, Rob's brother dies in a bridge attack, and they turn around. And then it becomes, we gotta find Beth. Beth left the party, we gotta find her. What? I'm a giant fan of found footage, and I think Cloverfield is where that all began. What? Found footage to me, when done well, is such a beautiful medium. Like, it is such a visceral way to, like, really put you in the action. I haven't seen a found footage film as good as Cloverfield since. I do want to say The Outwaters, though. I want to give a special shout out to that, because that is one of the best movies I've ever seen as well. Some other good found footage standouts to me: Creep, Hell House, LLC. And I really like this movie called Dashcam. I saw it one night with my good sis Belle, and that movie's forever ingrained in me. So I don't know, I really love found footage. But I think Cloverfield does it the best out of all of them. Oh, and sorry, I didn't mention the Blair Witch. Or Paranormal. Well, you know, we all have our favorites. But I know that a lot of people complained about, like, getting motion sickness from watching Cloverfield in theaters and stuff. Listen, I'd kill to be you, buddy. Like, sucker it up. It really throws you straight into this moment of utter catastrophe, and you literally feel like you're living it with the characters. And it is amazing how you don't see the monster really ever until, like, the final 10 minutes. I think there's maybe 3 shots I can recall of her. You have the parasites in the subway, which, like, is not even her. You have, like, her tentacle thing on the bridge. You have, like, her foot near when the tanks are firing. You kind of have her over the bridge. And then you have, like, the big overview from the helicopter, and then you have the straight on when she eats the camera. Basically, it's just a survival movie in New York, and it's a master work of everything I love. It's found footage, it's a monster movie, it's a love story. And it's brutal. You see stomachs exploding, and it doesn't hold back. It's unrelenting, almost, and it's it's just so beautiful to me. And this is like gonna sound crazy, but I don't know a better movie. I do, but whew. Also, if anyone knows where I can buy it, the Hasbro like limited edition toy of the Cloverfield monster, I would love to know. I really wanted that when I was a kid, and I feel like if I had it now, it might like serve a similar role as Effexor does in my life currently. So, hit a girl up. I can't. So, at least in my eyes, Cloverfield became a sort of sensation when it first dropped and everything like that. Even just from the marketing alone, it became a sensation, so it was a success. I've seen it today in like many best kaiju movies, but also many best found footage movies, which, good, put some respect on my bitch's name. But I think it left a lot of people wanting more. You know, we want explanations of what caused this, what happened, what is this monster? Who is Clover, and where did she come from? Is she this deep sea monster titan that was awoken by a satellite falling from the sky, or was she awoken by deep sea drilling for sea nectar by Slusho for their drinks? Or is she something else all entirely? I mean, you don't know, and there's a lot of stuff that they left completely open and unexplored that is perfect for future world building when it comes to sequels and stuff like that. And you know what? I do want to shout out the Monsterverse really quick. Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of Monsters, my personal favorite, Godzilla vs. Kong, Skull Island, and Monarch, which I've just started, obviously. I'm keeping up to date on my kaijus. Oh, and I do want to see Godzilla -1 when I can. But I really appreciate them for really taking the lens of what is typically seen as, you know, B-movie, big monster brawls. And I guess I'm especially talking about Monarch the show now, but they're really building a world here and answering a lot of questions like, what does a world look like when titans roam the earth, when these creatures exist? And I think that's all I wanted from a Cloverfield sequel. I think that's all anyone wanted from a Cloverfield sequel. All we wanted was more of Clover. And then 2016 rolls around and we get the announcement of 10 Cloverfield Lane. Whew. Buckle up. Okay. So 10 Cloverfield Lane comes about. And it's revealed that the Cloverfield franchise, from this point forward, well, now it's officially confirmed as a franchise first, which is good, I guess. From that point forward would be an anthology. And Cloverfield wasn't about, you know, the lore of the first movie at all. Cloverfield was going to stand for something kind of like what Black Mirror stood for, which it was a concept. It wasn't a specific brand. It is a specific brand that you're going to see now, but it's not specifically about kaijus. It's like a science fiction horror overlap. As J.J. Abrams put it, it's like a mystery box anthology series. My Art Pop could mean anything. My Cloverfield could mean anything. So we got 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I was so excited to see this movie. And I loved it. I loved it when I first saw it. You have Mary Elizabeth Winstead, one of my favorite people in horror. I think she's a real modern scream queen. Giving her all. And you have John Goodman, who's incredible. Basically head to head, just battling each other out, and it is really, really good. I want to give a shout out to Kate, who did my Chipotle mukbang, my last video. I saw it with her and a couple other friends, and the opening credits are jump scares in themselves, and I remember Kate's popcorn bucket flying through the air. That's a favorite memory of mine, to be honest. So, shout out to Kate. I love you. I don't know why talking about Cloverfield gets me, like, emotional. So, what 10 Cloverfield Lane is about, you have Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's running away from her relationship. She's called it quits. And she is driving away, not running. And she gets into a car accident. And she wakes up in a nuclear bunker that is run by John Goodman. And he tells her, like, listen, we got into a car accident, I saved your life, aliens have invaded, and it's toxic outside, you can't go out there, like, we're some of the only people left alive. And the whole movie is her inner struggle, trying to believe that the events that he's telling her are true. And it's a very intense movie. It's very different from the original Cloverfield, but I was along for the ride. It is really just a great study in, like, building tension, and you know exactly who each of the characters are, you know how they're going to react to certain things, and the tension is next level. That's something that the original Cloverfield, it more focuses on terror. This one more focuses on tension. The film concludes with Mary Elizabeth Winstead escaping the bunker and finding out that everything John Goodman has told her is true. The aliens are here and they're after her. And then it devolves into this almost comedic fight sequence between her and these metallic dog aliens, and she fights like the living mothership, and she blows it up with a Molotov cocktail, if I recall correctly. Taxi! This is where I loved it originally, and then, you know, you look back at it, and then you're like, and it's something that I love, so obviously I want to look into how it was made and everything, and I know the original team wanted to do a direct sequel to the OG Cloverfield, so when did it become this anthology thing? When are they going to tie these things together? What makes this a franchise, and what made it get the Cloverfield name is what's interesting to me. And then I learned it's a script that was originally had nothing to do with Cloverfield and didn't have the third act that it did. And I think it ended with Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character escaping the bunker and then finding out that everything John Goodman said was true, but she's just like driving through like nuclear ravaged cities. She's not fighting aliens, she's not doing anything like that. She just figured out that, oh, like the world did end and I was safe down there.
Taxi!
And I prefer that ending. I always preferred that ending. But overall, I loved 10 Cloverfield Lane as a successor to Cloverfield. Though, would I have preferred it as the original script intended it to be? Yeah, I think so, 100%. And that's where I'll leave that for now, because there is a third Cloverfield movie, and I don't like her. Okay, let's get into this. So, a surprise trailer drops for a third film during the Super Bowl in 2018. So we have this third movie called The Cloverfield Paradox coming out that I'm so excited for. Obviously, I have such a connection to the original Cloverfield, and I really love 10 Cloverfield Lane for what it was. And then I'm getting another one? This is like a blessing, you know? Yeah, so this is how it happened. They did a drop trailer during the Super Bowl and said the movie would be on Netflix immediately after the game, which continues the trend of Cloverfield's insane marketing techniques, which do work. But I think there's a very glaring reason that Cloverfield Paradox went straight to streaming, didn't do any theaters, especially after not only Cloverfield's success, but 10 Cloverfield Lane was very well received. And then you have Paradox, which, to put it lightly, is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Paradox is about this group of, I guess, astronauts on a space station trying to figure out how to... What are they trying to do? They're trying to solve Earth's energy crisis. And it's really in crisis. And they're trying to decide whether or not to use this, like, particle accelerator. And if that will solve anything. And what ends up happening is they use the accelerator, and it's able to change events in time or something. I've only seen this movie once, and I never want to see it again. But Clover appears at the end as like a candy thing. They're like, oh, if we use this, it'll like cause strange events to happen, and like universes will collide, and you know, like, that's the reason that there's aliens in 10 Cloverfield Lane, and that's the reason that Clover decided to attack New York City, which just goes against all of the lore of the marketing of the original movies, which pissed me off. But the biggest, most glaring problem that I see here is both 10 Cloverfield Lane and the Cloverfield Paradox were never intended to be Cloverfield movies. So why did they become them? Is this studios or J.J. Abrams not having faith in a movie well enough to be successful outside of that? It has to be attached to something else. The original script for 10 Cloverfield Lane was called The Cellar. That movie would have been incredible if it got made. The Cloverfield Paradox was originally called God Particle. I don't think that movie would have been good, but it still would have been better than what we received. And I think this whole thing just... I guess there's like an interview with J.J. Abrams saying, you know, when we were making these movies, I didn't really see them connecting to Cloverfield until it like clicked that they were Cloverfield movies. What are you talking about? What are you saying? I just think that's stupid. Because they're not... Neither of the Cloverfield sequels are Cloverfield movies and would have been better off with their original script, with no studio interference, and they would have been better received if so, and probably more respected, because as enjoyable as I find 10 Cloverfield Lane to be, the number one complaint I hear about it is that the third act, it falls apart when the aliens are introduced. Guess which script didn't have that? The Cellar. I don't know how good the God Particle script was, and I doubt it was any good. But I think it's probably a whole lot better script than whatever the reshoots happened to make it a Cloverfield movie were. You know, the God Particle was shot in 2016. The movie came out in 2018. There was clearly a time period between the shooting of the original script to when they decided to make it a Cloverfield movie. And you can tell. You can tell which scenes were added in to make this connect to something bigger and to be like an, oh, we got you moment, like this is how they all connect. When really, in all of reality, none of it makes sense. None of it is satisfying for the fans. And you just took a hot shit on something that was respected. Somewhat. So, but fuck you. Anyways, at the end of the day, the original Cloverfield movie is a masterpiece. It's incredible. 10 Cloverfield Lane is good. It is very decent. The Cloverfield Paradox is something I will never put myself through again. And it's offensive to... It's just a testament to how stupid studios think the average viewer is. It's just such a shame seeing people basically handed like a gold mine of franchising and then being like, yeah, we're not going to do any of that. And we're just going to like use this to promote indie films and give them a bigger audience. But we're also going to destroy the indie films in the process. And that's just how this is going to go. Oh my god, you guys are satanic. Like actual demonic forces, yeah. There could be some hope. I hate to say it. There could be some hope. They did announce that there is going to be a direct Cloverfield sequel, finally. It only took them, what, it came out in 2008 and it's 2024. I can't do math. What is that? 15, 16 years? So yeah, it took them 16 years to realize that, oh, this is what the audience wants. They liked the first movie and want to see more of it. What do I want to see from that? I just want to see my bitch in action. I want to see Clover fuck shit up. It doesn't have to be found footage. Obviously, the only found footage movie in the franchise is the first one. But I want to let's dig into Slusho. Let's dig into the company. Like, let's dig in. Give me a show. But also, like, where are they in filming with that? Ooh. Where are they in that process? Is the script written? I haven't heard anything about it. But I surely hope there is one. Because, you know, this is just a lesson to studios. Just, most of the time, listen to what the fans want. Like, horror franchises, listen to what the fans want. I'm not talking about Marvel here. I could give a shit less. And you know what? Maybe I'm talking to DC people. Maybe go with what the original thing was. Maybe you'd have a DCU. Maybe you wouldn't have to reboot, what, 7 years in? Whatever it was. Mess. But horror franchises specifically, listen to what the fans want. You know what? Bring Melissa back for Scream 7. Bring Jenna back for Scream 7. Spyglass. Destroy the rights to the film, to the Scream franchise. Hand them over to someone else. And free Palestine. Okay, so before we get into things, I think this is really exciting. So I have my first sponsor. If you've been watching, Mom, hello. Hello.
Did you want some Vicks?
No, I'm okay.
You sure?
Yes.
Why are you laughing?
Nothing, because I'm filming a video.
Oh, sorry. Bye.
Bye.